Again, I'm Reverend, not again. You've heard it before. I'm Reverend Marygrace. Welcome to Unity Church in Reading. We're glad you're here today. And let us begin with prayer. Mother, Father God, sweet Spirit, moving in, through, and as us in this very room, in this very place where I set my feet. I feel you moving in, through, and as me, radiating that Christ light out into the world, reflecting it into the eyes of everyone I meet, so that I can remember that I create my world with you at the core, putting you first. We are ever grateful to be here, and we open our hearts and minds to the awakening within us, growing and transforming our lives. And we say, Amen, Amen, Amen. Now we have Janice lighting singing our crystal bowl.
Start this portion of our service with the lighting of our Christ candle. I'd like to have Diana come forward and light this. And as she lights our candle, let's say together. We light this candle to remind us that the light of Christ lives within each one of us. I am the light of Christ. We are blessed. And now is the time of our service that we give gratitude and sharing. Is there anyone that...
I'm grateful for the sound person.
Amen.
But I think we're all grateful that Nancy and Mary are with us. They're healthy enough to be with us today. And I'm very grateful.
Very good. Any other sharing or gratitudes? Marygrace.
I am grateful for rain.
Yeah.
Did we go to rain?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Anyone else? I see no one else, so we will go right into the introduction of our musicians. And it is a rare treat that we have now for the last 3 weeks, shared with Laura and Anton. Thank you both for being with us. And it's probably the first time after a rain that I get to ask them, was there snow on the hill? A lot of rain and snow up on the mountain.
There is.
We are blessed. Well, why don't we then move right into the joy song, What Is Mine to Give?
What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? What is mine to do? All I want is to share myself with you. So I stand here asking, what can I do? What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? I give it to you. What is mine to give? I give it to you.
All right, now it is time for our children's message. So if I don't need their chairs. They're gonna stand. I just want their stool. Yes, I want their stool. Kingston Blaze, you coming? I got something for you, Dave. What is this? What is this? A candle. What is different about this candle than most candles? It has a bottom and a top. You're gonna sit. You don't have to sit with your brother if you don't want. What happens? Here, Kingston, look at me. What happens when we light a candle? That's what happens. We do blow it. The wax burns, and what happens? Turns to liquid, and what happens on the top? What happens, Blaze, on the top? What happens on the top of the candle when you light it? Do you need a hint? You can look at that one behind you. What's on the top of that flame that they lit? Fire. You don't have to tell him in case he's figured it out. He's almost smart. No? Yeah, he will be. Just you wait. I know how this works. Anyway, but this candle is different. Why? The bottom and the top are burned, right? And that's what happens when we try to do too much. Have you ever tried to play all day and you go to, like, what's your favorite place to go with your family and go expend a lot of energy and run around? The park? Amusement park? Water park? Going swimming? A museum? You get to run around in a museum? Wow. Yeah, well, maybe someplace where you use walking, that would be a place you would use walking feet, like the library. But one place that you could use your legs to be running around like they do. What kind of place would that be?
Turtle Bay.
Turtle Bay? Good hint. Thank you, Kay, for helping prod our brains here. Turtle Bay, do you get to run around there? No? There's a museum there. You can probably walk around and use walking feet too. Where do you like to run around? Where do you run around Kingston? When you're not playing video games? Anywhere. Yeah, well, you know what happens? And when we have a really long day and we burn our candle, and then we have another really long day and the same day and we burn our candle, like we go to school and then we have a huge party afterwards, or we get up in the morning and we play a game and then we go out and run around at the park. That's doing too much. We have to take time to breathe and be peaceful. Can you breathe with me? Now listen to your body. How does it feel after you breathe? A little more calm? A little more peaceful? Your mom. You feel your mom's energy. Good. Well, we are glad. So you don't want to burn your candle at both ends like I, whoops! You okay? It's all good. You were trying to do that earlier, and then it happened, right? Yeah, you think about it, and you create your world from what you think, feel, and believe. Remember that one? Yeah. So we want to have peaceful thoughts. So let's practice breathing again, Blaze. Can we stop, folks? Whoops. Let's stop and breathe. Can you do it? Do it one more time. Close your eyes. It's time to do it. That's the peace. Oh, Blaze, you didn't. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Put your hands over your eyes. Put your hands over your eyes and breathe. Good job. Okay, it is time for Sunday school. Can we have our We Are Walking in the Light, Anton? In the light,
We are walking in the light, in the light of God. In the light, in the light, in the light, in the light of God.
And now for our Lord's Prayer. You guys want to sing it or do you want us to sing it?
I guess we'll sing it.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever.
Now we have Al with our daily word.
Go out.
Can we ever give enough gratitude for Laura and Anton, what they bring to Thank you for sharing God's gifts that you have with us. They're very precious. Golly, today's word is refresh. And I'll look at you, young man, that refresh can not only refer to the electronic world, special. We like a lot of things in unity. It's up to us to do that. And we can choose to refresh, or we can choose to kind of stay on the same path. Today's affirmation is, honoring the divine presence within, I am refreshed. Would you join with me, please? Honoring the divine presence within, I am refreshed. Stretching and yawning after a good sleep. Enjoying a brisk walk in the early morning, or sipping a replenishing drink after a workout or time in the sun, I feel refreshed. I move forward into my next activity with a renewed feeling of well-being. Building upon and refreshing my knowledge may relieve me from thinking too much about my obligations. Spending time with a good book or revisiting favorite passages from my favorite writing can give me a relaxing mental pause. I find many opportunities to refresh my awareness that God, the divine presence, is within me, wherever I am, whatever I am doing. I find many opportunities to refresh my awareness that God, the divine presence, is within me, wherever I am, whatever I am doing. It takes only a moment to find God's presence reflected in the people and animals I encounter and in the natural beauty that surrounds me. Beautiful, beautiful words inspired by Romans, the 15th chapter, 32nd verse. So that by God's will, I may come to you with joy and be refreshed in your company.
Now it's time for our meditation. Let's just settle into this here and now state. Feeling the chair or surface supporting us. Feeling relaxed. And as we did with the children, let us just breathe together. In and out. In and out. As we relax from the activities of the week, as we relax from the activities of this day, as we center in here and now, we open our heart and relaxed to become focused on you, putting you first. In this moment, in this hour we set aside to commune, to remember to commune all week long, in each and every moment. We feel that presence running in us, reflecting out into the world as peace, love, joy, and harmony. As we rest in the stillness, in the silence. ourselves back to this time and place. We bring in those loved ones of ours that we'd like to hold in prayer, the situations in the world we would like to enfold with God's presence and recognize it there into our minds. We'll hold them in our hearts, blessing them, knowing that God is at work. And I invite you to now call their names forth, to speak them into the air, bringing that power of the spoken word. The names of those in our prayer box into our minds as well. Their names. We hold them in prayer, surrounding them in love and light, blessing them for the highest and best good, grateful for healing, wholeness, prosperity, and joy. Now, as we are ready to draw this meditation to a close, we speak our own names aloud, giving that Christ consciousness ourself the voice to be blessed and raised as well. As you'll say your name with me, Marygrace.
Oh.
Take another deep breath in. Feel your fingers at the end of your hands, your toes in your shoes, your body in your chair. Roll your head on your shoulders. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back to this space. And now we have our celebration song. That's what I was thinking, but only, it uses the same words, but they're a different tune. So maybe he heard that and wrote it in a song. That's what I'm thinking. Well, again, I'm Reverend Marygrace Sorensen, and for those of you joining at home, we're glad you're here, and welcome everybody who's here in person. It's so nice to see your faces. So I've got to pull out my message here. Today, I have technology. Get it up there? So the message today is candle burning. And so a doctor said, come up, oh, it's working. A doctor said, a patient goes in and says to the doctor says to her, your trouble is you're burning the candle at both ends. And the patient says, I know that. I'm here to find out how to get more wax. But anyway, it is candle burning. And when God works through us, what happens? The hours just breeze by, don't they? They just fly by. That happens to me practically every day here when I'm in the office. It just flies by. It's like, what? It's 4 o'clock already. I can't believe it. So there's a diner where there's this unique clock hanging on the wall, a collector's item. And underneath it, there's this sign that says, this clock is unique and will never be stolen because our employees are always watching it. Has anybody ever experienced a time where a situation where just time moves like molasses? Have you ever been there? It's just like, oh my God. Well, as most of you know, I worked most of my adult life in Unity, but for the first 8 years after I got out of college, I worked in business and education. And first for Procter & Gamble, no, that was later. First I worked for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, renting and selling used cars, and then later I worked for Procter & Gamble. And when I first moved to Ohio, I was waiting for teaching reciprocity on my certificate to be transferred to Ohio. And while I did that, I worked as a temp, a temp agency. And this one day I worked 2 days, a Monday and a Tuesday, and they were going to be closed Wednesday through Friday because it was Thanksgiving. And, Melanie was out, and so I sat at her desk, right, for 2 days, right? And so everybody else was out too. And all I had to do was answer the phone. Right? She did other things, but all they let me do was answer the phone and take messages. 7 calls in 2 days. Oh my God. 9:19. 9:37. Oh my God, it's been 30 years and I still remember that. Have you ever woken up and dreaded going someplace today? I dreaded that second day. It's been 30 years and I still, oh my God, it was horrible. I cannot believe how bored I was in that day. And that was happening because I wasn't allowing my Christ light to shine. I wasn't allowing God to work through me, and I was watching the clock, and I didn't even have an antique collector's item clock to look at. But every other place I have ever worked, in the business world and in my classroom, I always had a whiteboard, long after chalkboards, right? And I would write up there, Al, the affirmation for the day, right out of the daily word. And sometimes I'd have to edit it, like today's one, instead of saying, honoring the divine presence within, I am refreshed, I would just say, I am refreshed. I didn't want to use God or Spirit to offend anybody, because you know how people are sometimes. And like yesterday, the affirmation was, I am free to be me. Well, I could put that one up there. So I would always write it up there, and everyone could wait to see the daily word. It was always good. And I could shine my light and spread my joy in Marygrace way, right? And still do my work and fly through the day. And it was a way that we can do that. Will you join me in our affirmation for today? I labor with love and shine my light. Say that 3 times. I labor with love and shine my light. I labor with love and shine my light. I labor with love and shine my light. So really, we're not talking about candles burning. We're talking about Labor Day. I was told in ministerial school you're supposed to yes, make them think about what we're talking about. Did you have any clue I was going to talk about Labor Day when I used candle burning? No. Good, it worked. I can call Charlene and tell her. So Unity's co-founder, got to go back, Marygrace. Divine order will be expressed in your work when you have faith in God. Your hours will be filled with good and profitable work. You will find the opportunity to encourage and help those whom God may send. And in this way, you see, you will be keeping your part with universal law and prosperity and opening the channels through which your greater good will come. By keeping faith and keeping our part of the universal law, doors open, opportunities arise as we fill our hours with good and joy, so that we become like that candle burning at both ends. We're having so much fun. It's like, wait, the day's over? We need to have more fun? Feels like that Christmas, doesn't it? Just so much to do and not enough time to do it. Well, she said in healing letters as well, I should like to straighten out an idea in your letter where you say, I have to work in order to live. Heard that? Thought that probably. Now that is getting the cart before the horse, she says. We do work and we love to serve because it allows the spirit of industry, the industry of spirit to move through us and express through us. But we do not look to work as our supply. We look steadfastly to God. Steadfastly to God. At the end of the offertory blessing, what do we say? Abundance, right? We always say abundance. I've served at several churches where I've spoken, and they say my favorite line, which I'd love to use, but it's, God is my source, and abundance is my nature. I love that affirmation. It reminds me that God is the source, and sometimes I have to say it, remembering that I am one with God, and I am expressing it, and when I do express it, abundance is my nature. To remember that. And it makes what Thomas Edison said so true, right? What did he say? I never did a day's work in my life. It was all fun. Isn't that great? Wouldn't you like to get that to be on your stone, if you have a stone when you go? Maybe I'll just get one printed now. I always had fun. I like that. There's a great story about Kemmons, K-E-M-M-O-N-S, Wilson. He was the founder of the Holiday Inn chain. And he was invited to give a graduation speech at a high school he had attended. And he gets up there in front of the graduates and he says, I don't know why I'm here. I didn't even graduate. I didn't get a degree. All I've ever done is work half days my whole life. He says, so I guess that's what I'm going to, my advice to you. Work half days every day. Doesn't matter if it's the first 12 hours or the second 12 hours, but work a half day every day. And when we do work with love in our hearts, joy arises. And we're no longer clock watchers, right? We can just throw our watches away because we'll be there before we know it. Spiritually, we have to examine how we move through the days by turning within internally and see how we're feeling in this moment. Remember we did that breathing this morning? We go back to that place when we get rattled or shaken or things come up that we would wish we're slowing down. Just breathe. When we do that, that spiritual consciousness comes to the forefront of our mind. And when we do that, joy comes, right? It just does. Now, do you remember those old movies, the very first ones, back in the 20s and 30s, where there was always an old business tycoon in it, right? He was always signified in his suit, smoking a Cuban cigar, you know? Signifying wealth and abundance, and maybe a little on the portly side because he had so much to eat. But they weren't very nice, were they? They portrayed them as always rushing from here to there, never listening to anybody, never having time. They would come in, and if they showed them with employees, what were they doing? They were yelling at them and filling the air with tension, and everybody was freaking out. And what a horrible way to model how it has to be in the workplace. I'm so glad that that's changed. But that was what they put out there, wasn't it? And what we think about glad that that has changed a lot. But we can bring joy in the workplace. We know we can. I know you've heard my favorite quote before. Most everybody has. Joy is the most infallible sign of the presence of God. Joy is the most infallible sign. And it just multiplies. That's what happens. That's from Pierre Terre Desjardins. And we can allow our problems not to bother us or roll off our back like a duck. We saw, I didn't tell you, we saw 4 cranes in the pond behind our house last night because of all the water that came. But the ducks weren't there, but that's what happens. The water goes right off of them, doesn't it? And we can do that too. When we allow ourselves to breathe, find peace, feel God's love, and then joy abounds. That's what happens. And we can make our journeys easier if we remember to take God as our unseen partner. Not silent. It's within us, speaking all the time. That joy, that God is our unseen partner. Take God as your unseen partner. Do you remember that old department store called Lord and Taylor? There isn't a guy named Lord. It was in the Midwest. You've heard of it, right? Nobody? She's heard it. A couple people heard of it. It was a really successful department change for many, many years. But his name was Taylor, and his first business failed, and he decided right then and there that he was going to put God first, and he named it Lord and Taylor. And it was successful until, guess what? He wasn't running it anymore because whoever wasn't putting God first. It works when we put God first. So we can make God our unseen partner. And then we can decide to like our work. You know, whatever we decide about a certain situation, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, doesn't it? We can decide about something, and we do. Instead of deciding that we're becoming more and more miserable each day, we can decide that we're going to find something that we're going to like about it. And think about that. You know, it's a mile closer or a half mile closer than my last job. Or, you know, there's light that comes in this window. Or, you know, people wear funny clothes, and I just get to laugh at them. Whatever it is, find something to focus on to bring joy in your day. One little thing, and then it becomes to multiply. You know, Unity's third principle, law of mind action. We talked about it last week, right? That we create our world by our thoughts, decide to like your work. And then we can plan with God's guidance. Remember what happens when we don't have a plan? We feel swamped, we feel overwhelmed, we don't know which way we're going, and it gets crazy. At least it doesn't for me. So I'm a real planner. And then God sometimes changes the plan, doesn't God? But that spirit within us, unity principle number 4, turning in within for affirmative prayer and meditation, right? We turn within and God guides us. We ask and we receive. We ask for what is ours to do. So we plan. And when we do that, the distractions don't pull us away. We can focus on where we're going by turning to divine wisdom within, right? So we plan with God's guidance. And then we do one thing at a time, right? Because if we try to do more than one thing at a time, we can multitask, yes, but we have to focus on the one thing that's our focus in that moment. And when we do that, we don't have to be Scott. We don't have to be juggling things in the air and throwing, you know, how many can you juggle? 9. You can juggle 9 things in the air at once. So, you know, you don't have to do that. You can just do one at a time. And that way, we can heed Paul's advice in the Christian scriptures from avoiding the things which are behind and stretching forward to the things which lie ahead. I press on toward the goal of the high calling of Christ Jesus. So we're going to forget about this, we're going to forget about this, and move towards expressing that Christ life. So if we look at this metaphysically, which is how we interpret the Bible, beyond the physical here at Unity, so things are thoughts lowered to human sense consciousness, right? Thoughts lowered to human sense consciousness. That's things. So we're going to forget about these lowered consciousness thoughts, and we're going to forget about those lower consciousness thoughts. We're getting out of the past and the future. We're going to be in the present, right? That's what it's saying. And then it says, I press on toward the goal of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. And God is what? Ron, what's God? The eternal one, right? The creator. And then Christ is, all right, got it over here. I should know this. It's the anointed one. And Jesus is the I am consciousness, the human within that Christ consciousness. So Christ is the anointed one. And then I am consciousness was Jesus. So we all have that I am consciousness within us. And we're working towards expressing that Christ light that lives inside of us. So instead of reading it the way it is, we could say, forgetting the thoughts that are lowered in vibration behind us, and forgetting those thoughts that are lowered in vibration and sense conscious ahead of us, I press on toward the goal of the high calling of the eternal one and the anointed I am consciousness within me. Just what I was talking about, right? Finding that joy, bringing it up, something to be grateful for, and then it abounds. That's exactly what Paul was saying there. So we can allow that light to shine through us, through the gifts that we can share wherever we are. Mine happens to be zeal, but I have a friend who brings peace into the room, and it's a great gift. I wish I had more of that sometimes. But we all have our own gifts to bring to where we are, to do one thing at a time, right? Not back and forth. And then the next one is to have a good mentality. We can use ease or difficulty when we're doing something, can't we? We can choose. We get to choose. It can be easy or it can be difficult. Which do we want it to be? I choose the easy route. I like it that way. Sometimes when I'm trying out a new recipe, it doesn't work that way. But usually it does because I follow directions well. And if you follow directions well, following God's guidance comes out perfectly every time, doesn't it? So we have to know that if we use our God mental attitude, have that good attitude, we can be in that divine flow of spirit to move in our lives, where God is love, and with that love, it shines, and we bring joy about our days. So the next thing, I'm going to move through these quick, is because kids are getting stirred, is to become efficient. And ask God what I need to do to become more efficient in this moment. When we bring about that joy and shine our light, we know what the right thing to do is. And then we can be more efficient. What is ours to do next? Should I take out the garbage now, or should I put in a load of laundry? Should I bake these cookies, or do I need to bake the bread first? Whatever it is that you're doing, turn within and ask about the silly things. When you're going out to run for errands, you know you have it planned. I have it planned out the most cost-effective way, so that I go to this store, this store, this store. So I'm not backtracking, but I ask God every time, should I go to Walmart first, or do I go over to Winco? I mean, they're really close, but I mean, I ask. So you can do that each and every time to become efficient. So imagine if Shakespeare said to himself, I can't write because I don't have a computer. All he had was ink and a feather, right? What if he just decided, I can't do this, I don't have the right equipment? We wouldn't have all his words. I know that's a silly example, but sometimes we get that way, don't we? We have to remember to use the tools we have and follow that guidance, no matter what it is, and become efficient in whatever way we are. And then call on Scott when I can't figure it out, because he's the tech guru, in addition to the double. The last one is practice peace, which is what I was talking about with kids too, right? To find that place, to be at peace. Just breathe me again. To be at peace. And that's when the joy unfolds and abounds within us. As Glenn Clark said, when one is in perfect alignment with God, all our work becomes play,
Repeat after me. Divine order is now manifesting in every phase of this ministry through expanding prosperity, attendance, and by being a light on the path for others. You hold your offering in your hand and thank God that you have more than ample to give. And let's say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Abundance.
We're going to do a Sanskrit chant, Loka, in the world, Samasta in every direction. Sukhino, full of happiness, the volunteer.
Oh, we are so blessed this morning. So let's close our eyes if you're comfortable. We receive this offering from thy will, knowing that we'll go into the community that we serve, flowing throughout, bringing prosperity, bringing joy, bringing love. For we are the wellspring of God's love, and so it is. Ooh, very good, very good. One of my favorite time service. Announcement. There you go. Had to see if you'd forgotten over the last week. Well, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge our volunteers, Janice and Jerry, working as our ushers, and Sheldon doing our sound, and Al back there annoying her. And we also would like to recognize that our office will be open this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 until 4. And there will be meditations here in the sanctuary if you are in town and you'd like to have a little extra energy at noon each of those days. We also have a prayer circle at 9:30, meeting in the prayer room. And it's each Sunday, and it's facilitated by our own Diana. Also, the Course of Miracles class will be on Thursday at 10 o'clock. We also have a course of Circle of Love book club study early years, and that will be on Thursday at 1 o'clock. And why is my cycling? Well, we'll find out. Next week we have a new membership class, and that will be September the 10th, so that's next Sunday. So if you have any interest in membership, you can talk to me about it, or you can talk to Reverend Marygrace. We also have our World Day of Prayer on September the 14th, and that will be from noon until 5:30. There's a sign-up sheet out in Fellowship Hall, so that we have prayer going on each of those hours during that time of 10 until 5 o'clock, 12 until 5 o'clock. And as a very special gift for our World Day of Prayer, Kingston decorated some of our bookmarks that we're going to give out this very morning as a reminder of the World Day of Prayer. So Kingston, can I get you to, Blaze, you going to help? All right, we like help. You going to give them all to me, or are you going to give them out to other people? Anyway, as he gives out those bookmarks, we're going to remember that we're also going to do a pet blessing service, and that's on October the 3rd. So you can think about which of your critters you need to have prayed over. In my house, you'd be praying over the spiders and the outside cockroaches that like to run around. Also, we can check the bulletin board for any of our 12-step programs and their meeting times. And we also are going to celebrate Birthday Sunday being the first Sunday of the month. So let us join in singing our happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, and happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Are we having a town hall after service?
We're having a town hall immediately following. I'm going to close with that.
Oh.
So that, if you want to keep this fun time going, we're going to meet right after service, after you get your snacks and coffee or whatever you like. And then we're going to have a town hall meeting, and the Reverend Marygrace is going to share everything that went on at convention this year, and everything that was voted on, and everything that was not voted on, and everything that they're going to put in practice. Here's what happened. And then we're also going to look forward to everybody being back next Sunday for more of this fun time. And we are blessed. And I got mine for this week.
And there's ice cream after service, and the World Day of Prayer ends at 5:30. We're going to have a special service at 5.
Okay. Anything else?
So that's it.
Then why don't we move right on into our finishing our service with our closing song, and that will be the peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, then we all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be my moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And now let's say our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
Namaste. Thank you for being here, and have a great week. Oh, and remember, we've got ice cream. And stay for the town hall.
Thank you. Yeah, nice job. That was the next one.
Are they still gonna?
Oh,
Yeah.
please.
In the afternoon, from 1 to 3, how's that gonna work?
I haven't thought about that. That's a good question.
Okay, because I signed up during that class, I didn't think about it the other day.
We'll think about it.
Thanks for being here, Stefan.
So how's the dogs?
Just couldn't be better.
Hi Penny, how are you?
Good. You talked to
Glad to see
Julie?
you again.
I've been texting with her, we're gonna go out for a visit next Friday if you
There
want to
you
come
go.
out. I'm gonna drive out there next
Good.
Friday around
In a positive way, I hope.
11ish or so.
Okay.
I think Ken might go too, I'm not sure if anybody else is going.
Okay. I don't. My whole life is on my calendar.
Oh, I know, I told you that.
So I'll let you know. Okay. So next Friday.
Next Friday. Okay, so you want me to write my phone number
Yes,
down?
please. Please.
Let me get a piece of paper here.
So you're going to her daughter's house?
Yeah, in Douglas. Okay. So my name.
There you go. I'll let you know. Okay, thank you.
We're all set up.
See all of them. So it starts with the notice about the phone, Course in Miracles, the meditation. It's one of these. So, you know, each month they have like the color and what those things mean, and then they have each week a quote. You get the daily quote. It's in there. It's in the beginning pages. I'll show you.
Keep going this way.
Okay. And then there's wisdom, vitality,
You want to sit over here?
prosperity, and faith. Let's see, and then there's,
Where's the road?
oh, it says something about a road. The road ahead may be unseen, but I walk by faith and not by sight. Okay, it's in the beginning of this day. You want me to show you where it is?
Yeah.
I love the daily word, so I'm very into it.
I was going to recommend for today's message, where do you run and hop? I was going to say front yard.
As always, beautiful music.
Because I've seen you out there playing football and everything else out there.
Playground, the shelter park. I was the Princess Fun Center.
Oh, are you? I just thought you did such a great job.
My brother's son, my nephew, he brought his dog up, and she actually.
How did her slides do? Stuck them in the
Well, she did them, and they all worked great, yeah.
recording there?
Yeah, so see, it was, she had them all in, and all I had to do was start this,
Oh, yeah.
just click that first one, and then it all went through. She did it, yeah. So that was easy.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so many like that.
Okay, I gotta get my notes. I'm so excited that worked. Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, it did work well. So, Scott,
Ah, you win. Go show Scott. He'll like that. It's a juggling, pre-juggling.
Good job today. There they are. The family.
good reminder to see. I have little reminders around my house.
See you. Safe travels back to the mountain. Safe travels back to the town.
Guys, I was telling Al, you're like my favorite.
Oh, well, you have a hard job too, so maybe, it's like a little community where you can just sit down.
Just the music, and every time, sometimes when you sing some of the songs you sing, I'm like, I wish I had a recording of this, so I could listen to it whenever I want. I know, I
But the
could.
recording of probably the
Yeah.
quality. You know what, we are working on it. Thank you.
Yeah, next week. Good. Yeah, getting the band back together. Jacob and
So Jack, stuff that's, like, really for us, tour guide about when our summer season starts winding down, our plan is to go to the studio and work hard on those. And I even gave up more actively. I got fired from a project that I was working on because I still didn't have a it was by mutual agreement. So it was a,
Yeah, sometimes you just have
but
to.
I was like, I have to be honest, I'm just not going to have time for this. So now that that's out of my life, so we will, when you get those recordings,
I don't do anything. I'm very non-techy.
okay, you don't have these ones, so
CDs anymore, I don't think, you know.
For New York, you probably burn
Oh.
that the CDs are based on your computer.
Yeah.
The quality is that they break down over time, whereas the commercially ones that last master are more crystal clear. Like the sound is better, they last longer, the accuracy is better, just a little whatever one is better. And so I don't know which will press the Anton I may not of my stuff. I may just get it all.
I know, I need to go.
On Spotify, something.
Yeah. See, I've never done that. I really
Streaming services are easy to use because so my brother signed us up for like a family thing. My brother signed put me on a family plan, and I put him on my Microsoft family plan. So we kind of trade.
Yeah.
So I need that for my work. So I bought the family plan and put my family on it, and it's pretty easy to use. You can type you can type Anton's name in the search box and all his stuff comes up, and you just click the little play icon on the computer, and then it plays whatever.
Well, let's see.
I will show you.
I've heard of Spotify, but I've never done anything with it.
So here's, I'll show you how it works. So I have, this is the Spotify app. So I just open it up, and I've got some podcasts.
Oh, good. Oh.
Like this. And
That one you sang at the end was just kind of
so if I go on it, so I just look at whatever, and I can search, and I can, find out if I want to pay.
and you don't have to pay for them because you already have a Spotify account for a subscription.
If you want no ads, they have free, but that's, I have free with no ads. So that's just one way to do it, but Anton's stuff is on there, and so it's just the whole all the young people.
And all of our, and we also have 50 YouTube videos.
Yeah, I have watched some of your videos. Yeah.
Did you make these wonderful cookies?
Oh my God, I got to try them.
Oh, sweetie, these
It's the
These are as
Costco
good as
chocolate
Berryhill.
chip recipe.
Really? Oh yeah, on the
Yeah, on the bag, that's the recipe. Except for I don't put as much vanilla or brown sugar.
Yeah, I don't. Well, that recipe is really similar to the Toll House recipe. It's just like
It is, but this is better than Toll House, I think.
So how does it sound today?
It was pretty good.
Okay, we're not gonna
Almost
need
as
this,
good as
right?
the
So I'm gonna shut it down.
Yeah.
No, the sound today was good.
Good.
Yes.
And you don't move it. You wait till it's quiet.
You know what? I forgot to do the video. Because people came up right away and was talking to me. I'm so sorry.